¡Cuidado! ¡Cuidado, cuidado! ¡Salgan de ahí! ¡Cuidado!
Very destructive earthquake with really shocking pictures from Colombia just today. Bueno. It was a very shallow quake. That's why it was felt so intensely in areas quite far away. Shortly after 8 in the morning on Sunday, June 8th, a powerful earthquake struck near the town of Bueno in Cundinamarca, shaking not only the homes and the buildings, but the nerves of millions across Central America. And while I'm talking, you will see the pictures behind me of cracked roads. This is what scares me always the most with these earthquakes, because I live on the West Coast and there's there's the tsunami evacuation routes if the big one hits a magnitude 9+, and also evacuation routes, go down that road. I don't think roads will exist, so you will probably have to climb over cracked pavements or cracks in the earth. That's what I find really, really scary. So magnitude 6.5, shallow, sudden, and violent. And its shock waves were felt far and wide in Bogota, Villavicencio, Boyacá, Caldas, and as far as the eastern lowlands. And then after that earthquakes, I saw it, videos quickly flooded the social media, people evacuating buildings, objects crashing to the floor, glass shattering, buildings damaged, the roads damaged. But what has made this quake so intense and so dangerous? And I mean, Colombia just had a tragedy yesterday with a guy shooting their presidential candidate. So now let's take a look at the facts, the science, and the consequences of this earthquake. So first, the numbers. The Colombian Geological Service has reported it's a magnitude 6.5, while international agencies like the USGS have listed it at 6.3. These are both in the moderate to strong category, but enough to cause widespread damage, especially if the quake is shallow. And this one was. Some international agencies listed it initially at a depth of 30 kilometers or about 18.6 miles. Colombian authorities and local seismic networks, though, have confirmed a much shallower depth of approximately only 10 kilometers or just over 6 miles. And that shallow focus is critical. Why? Because shallow earthquakes release their energy very close to the surface. And that's where the buildings are. That's where the infrastructure is. That's where people feel it. So that means the shaking on the ground, it's much more intense and destructive, even if the magnitude is not like exceptionally high, magnitude 7, something like in Myanmar, or 8 or even 9. So according to the specialists from the University of Colombia, they say it's not just about how strong the quake is on paper, it's how close that energy is to us. And a shallow quake like this can shake a city to its core. And I can confirm that. I felt 4.3 quakes in Vancouver. So the epicenter was located about 17 kilometers or roughly 10.5 miles northeast of Bueno. It's right along the foothills of Colombia's eastern cordillera, the mountainous spine that defines much of Colombia's terrain. This is usually unfamiliar territory for earthquakes. In fact, the Eastern Frontal Fault System, that's a complex network of faults that's running near Bueno, has been the source of many historical tremors. For example, in 1967, a magnitude 6.8 quake struck Tauramena. In 2008, a similar event rocked El Calvario. And just recently in 2023, seismic swarms in Meta have raised eyebrows among Colombian geologists. So this region sits at the intersection of several powerful tectonic plates. The Nazca plate. I'm reporting about this quite often recently. It's slowly diving beneath the South American plate. A subduction zone And pressure builds up across a massive area because of that. And when that pressure is released suddenly, like it was today, the results can be devastating, as you see in the pictures that we have from there. So many may ask, is this related to the Pacific Ring of Fire? Because we know it's especially active right now. So although Colombia isn't officially located or part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, it's caught in the collision zone of major tectonic plates, making it just as vulnerable to powerful earthquake and volcanic eruptions. What happened today on the ground? What did this earthquake do to the people living there? So according to official reports, 4 people were injured in the towns of Paratebueno and Medina. One woman in Bogota suffered a panic attack and had to be treated by emergency services. That number may seem low for now for such a powerful quake, but many residents, it seems, were just lucky. The quake struck in the morning when people were awake and able to respond quickly. They were not sleeping in their beds. Still, the damage is widespread. In the town of Medina, several homes have collapsed, especially in the Santa Cecilia neighborhood. Churches in Cibate and Medina have suffered wall fractures and entire facades of buildings cracked and crumbled. Several roads were also damaged, cracks split the pavement, and landslides temporarily blocked access. And Bogota, though over 100 kilometers, about 62 miles from the epicenter, shook intensely. So people poured onto the streets, windows shattered, elevators stalled. That is a scary thing. And temporary power outages have affected thousands. Thankfully, there the power was restored within hours. Bogota is the capital of Colombia, by the way. So how many people were truly affected? And that number is high. The quake was felt by over 15 million people across Colombia. The strongest shaking occurred within a 100-kilometer radius, about 62 miles, but reports of swaying lights, dizzy spells, rattling walls came as far as from the Pacific coast, in the Llanos region, and even western Venezuela. And now let's talk aftershocks. What's going on there? So as of this recording, while I'm making this video, we have more than 50 aftershocks already, some as strong as magnitude 4.9. These smaller quakes are expected. That's normal after a main shock of this size, and they can continue for days, unfortunately, or even weeks. So what should people that live there expect next? According to the Colombia Geological Service, more aftershocks are likely, especially in the next 72 hours. Most will be thankfully small, but a few could be felt, and there's a slim possibility of one being strong enough to cause further damage. And the problem is, what is now maybe unstable because of that big quake, the aftershocks may give it the rest. So we could see more buildings collapse. Experts from the Colombia National Unit for Disaster Risk Management urge people to stay alert. They're saying, we're monitoring the situation closely. If you feel another strong tremor, move to a safe area and follow emergency protocols. And now let's zoom out a little bit. What makes that part of Colombia so earthquake prone? Colombia is a tectonic hotbed, unfortunately. It sits atop the intersection of 3 major plates: the Nazca, the Caribbean, and the South American plates. The Eastern Cordillera, where Paratebueno lies, is slowly being compressed and deformed by these massive forces. They're putting a lot of pressure on that. So these mountains are not just beautiful, they're active, and they hide thrust faults and reverse faults that are often hard to detect until they rupture. And shallow quakes in this area are particularly dangerous because the towns are built on alluvial soils, soft ground that amplifies seismic waves, and of course the buildings are shaking way more. So this means even moderate tremors can feel much stronger than expected. So what now? If you're watching from Colombia or nearby, stay prepared. Here's what authorities are recommending. Like, aftershocks are normal. If you feel one, don't panic. just drop, cover, and hold on. Inspect your home or building for cracks in the walls, floors, or ceiling. If anything looks unsafe, leave the structure. And this is good for all over the world. Avoid driving through mountain roads for now. Landslides and cracks can make travel very, very dangerous. Stay updated through official channels and don't rely on rumors. So the Parate Bueno earthquake, in closing, was a wake-up call. A strong reminder that Colombia's beautiful mountains are still alive, that deep beneath the surface, tectonic tension is always building and it's always present, and that when it releases, even briefly, it can rattle cities, shake millions, and remind all of us how fragile the ground beneath our feet really is. So if you found this interesting and helpful, please like the video, subscribe, share it with others. And if you want to support the channel even further, I have a buy me a coffee site, buymeacoffee.com/silky. If you buy me a coffee there, you can leave me a message and I will answer with a 30-second video message. And then you can video message me back. I think this is a very cool tool that they have this feature so we can see each other. Shout out to my members. Thank you for supporting the channel with a monthly membership here. If you want to do that, click the join button. Check the links in the description of this video. Everything is there, the link to the coffee site and for the memberships. And thank you so much for your supers that you're sending me through YouTube here. Have a great day, evening, night, and hopefully nothing is going to rattle you. Stay safe. Bye-bye.